Let's talk about the 5 questions you should be asking each time you go to the farmer's market. Hi, I'm Dr. Arland Hill, and I want to share with you the questions that I learned to ask when I was buying my produce at the farmer's market. So let's jump right into these. Number 1 is asking the vendor, do they sell for someone else? This is key because you want to know what the supply chain is. One of the reasons we go to the farmer's market is so we can buy directly from the person who's actually growing the food. However, here's something you should know about this is that sometimes even if the person selling the food isn't the one that's growing the food, that may not necessarily be a bad thing, but the person that's selling the food should be able to answer some detailed questions about how that food's being grown or how animals are being raised. So number one is make sure that person knows how food is being handled, how it's being produced if they're selling it for someone else. You may just find that a farmer isn't the best publicity person and he does a better job having someone else sell his food. The next thing you want to know, and this might be the most important, is asking someone why they sell at the farmer's market. I have to tell you guys, there has to be a passion. If you want to grow healthy food, if someone really likes to be outside growing healthy food and they have a passion for that, it's going to show up in the produce that they're selling. They're going to have a healthier, a more nutrient-rich product than if they don't. They're going to take more time with their food. They're going to make sure that they're investing more, meaning putting more into it. They're going to know how to produce that food, what to put into the soil to help it generate a good, healthy crop. It's a lot different if you're just trying to make a buck. Making a buck, and I'm not against capitalism, but just trying to make a buck by selling food, there has to be more to it than that. The next thing you want to know is, does this person use herbicides or pesticides? Does that vendor use herbicides or pesticides? Now, here's the catch on this. You may be thinking, well, of course I wouldn't want to use them if they use herbicides or pesticides. And yes, you're right, if those are going to be toxic substances. However, you can still feel good about working with the vendor at the farmer's market if they're using the right kinds of herbicides and pesticides. And probably speaking more about pesticides here, things like neem oil, cedar oil, some of the cinnamon oil comes to mind, thyme oil. Some of your essential oils, a lot of times we use essential oils for their other health benefits, but they're also antimicrobial and they can help change the balance of bacteria and microorganisms on a plant. So someone might use that. So just if they say yes, that they do use these, dig a little deeper and inquire what kind of herbicides and pesticides they're using. The next thing you want to know is, do they use compost or do they use fertilizer? And compost is going to be the better option here as compared to a synthetic fertilizer. Synthetic fertilizers give a supercharged amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and that may be okay if we're looking at a short duration crop, something that grows really fast, like maybe some of your lettuce type crops. However, that's probably not going to be the best option if we're looking for really building up nutrient-rich soil that depends on making sure that it has adequate amounts of carbon and nitrogen in it to produce good, healthy plants that have a much longer growing season. Now, I will caveat this question as well and say that if that person is using a more balanced type of fertilizer, and these are almost hard to call fertilizers sometimes, but where we have several different amendments in that, there's a lot of different nutrients besides just nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. There's going to be different bacteria and beneficial fungus in there. There's going to be carbon sources like molasses in that. So if someone's using a comprehensive fertilizer of that nature, that's okay. You should feel comfortable about that, because that farmer gardener is taking it to the next level and doing things right. Now, the next question you want to ask, and the last question we're going to talk about here, is, can I visit your farm? You should, when someone is growing your food, they should be transparent about what they're doing. They should want to share with you. They should be excited. They shouldn't be hiding anything. I know as we grow food and we want to share that, we throw stuff up on Facebook, we shoot videos like this because we want to be transparent about what we're doing. However, I also want to caution you, if someone says no, don't get defensive about them saying no, you can't come out for a visit. They should still be willing to show you transparency. But one of the things that I'll share with with you that may not be obvious right off the bat is that a farm can be a bit of a dangerous place. It's a wonderful place to come out to, but it can be a bit dangerous if you don't know your way around. There's large animals out here that you have to take into consideration, and they don't always want to play nice. You have large equipment, heavy equipment out here, and it just takes a small amount of things moving the wrong way for someone to get seriously hurt with these things. So farmers, someone having you come out to their property, that's a liability for them, and they have to take those things into consideration, and there's a lot of prep that they have to do. So don't go in the defensive if someone says no. One of the things that we do is we have limited times where folks can come out. It's a busy place too. There's things that have to get done on a routine basis. But again, with all the outlets that we have now, with things like YouTube, with Facebook, there's ways to be transparent, and quite honestly, if someone is really in it for the right reasons, you're gonna know it in the conversation that you're having with them that they're doing things right. They're not just gonna show it in what they're doing on their property, it's gonna show on their face when you ask them these questions as well. So listen guys, I hope these questions are extremely beneficial for you being able to nail down and find the vendors that you feel like you can trust at your local farmers market. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like down below, a thumbs up. If you feel like someone else can benefit from this, make sure that you're sharing it with them. Let them see the questions that they should be asking at their local farmers market. Thanks for taking the time to listen, guys. I'm Dr. Arland Hill.